Perfectly done. Thank you for recording. Well done. Let's get started. So, welcome again to our today's lecture number 3. And today, as you can see, we will tell something about legal forms of business and mainly craft business. Today we will have a short introduction to start a craft business in the Czech Republic. And on Thursday, we will continue more deeply with this topic, and also we will outline more information about how to start some other legal forms of business in the Czech Republic, which means legal entities. First of all, we will remind of some basic concepts of doing business in the Czech Republic, among others also a few business rules and some important institutions. Then I will outline the ways of setting up the business in the Czech Republic and some types of craft business or trade licenses. Maybe you remember it from our very first lecture. Then we will focus on other legal forms of business in the Czech Republic. We will focus on corporations. And at the end, we will summarize the information. I have also a short quiz for you. And just to start to remind of a few important information we will work with today. My question is, do you remember any key aspect of the entrepreneurship? Maybe you remember the definition of it. And one question is if you remember any key aspect, and the second question is where we can find this important definition that is relatively important for us because we should know something about entrepreneurship. So is there anyone who remembers key aspects of entrepreneurship in the Czech Republic? Some important aspects, the reasons why to doing business, and some factors, some aspects that are connected with entrepreneurship. Maybe I can start, and then you can join later to our discussion if you want. It is based on civil code, občanský zákoník in the Czech language. It's relatively basic rule for us, and I remind of it because today we will deal with it. And it is the person who independently, so-called independently, carries out gainful activity on their own account and is responsible for their liabilities. And what is also important is the intention of doing the business consistently and to achieve profit. It's the main reason of entrepreneurship, to achieve profit, to be profitable. It is not the only goal, if you remember, but it's a very important goal that results from definition of business. And my next question is, do you know any important Czech institution that is connected with business law? Is there anyone who remembers or knows any institution regarding business activities, trading activities? So maybe I can remind of it. For instance, today we will discuss about trade licensing office, živnostenský úřad in the Czech language. It's important for craft business, for individuals. Then we have here also business register or commercial register. It is connected with legal entities, with corporations. Obchodní rejstřík, the Czech language. Because it's obligatory for legal entities to be a part of a commercial register. Then tax office, finanční úřad, health insurance company, zdravotní pojišťovna, or district social security administration, okresní správa sociálního zabezpečení, or central registration point. It means very important places to know when we are starting a business in the Czech Republic. And maybe very last question, which business rule is necessary to know in the Czech Republic? And because after this question, there will be short section for you for your introduction of your plans regarding your future business, I can outline the answer, because as I mentioned before, there is so-called civil code, nový občanský zákoník, that is very frequently connected with the definition of entrepreneurship. Business Corporations Act, it results from the name of this law, of this rule. It is connected with corporations, legal entities, zákon o obchodních korporacích, and then the Trade Licensing Act, živnostenský zákon. And yeah, it's very important rule for our today's topic about craft business. And now, if you remember, we can switch to something else, because last week, at the end of our very last lecture, you were given short task to think about your elevator pitch. It means about 2 minute, 1-2 minute speech regarding your future business, your goals, information about your potential customers, and also about your financial budget. But do not worry about financials too much now, because we will focus on it more deeply in our future lectures. Financial budget is connected with our property needs and also with equity or potential loan. If we don't have enough own capital, we need some loan or debt from bank, from investor. So we will outline it later, but you will work with it actively. And what is fine is to think also about your potential financials, about your starting capital, because after our Thursday's lecture, there will be about two weeks time to think about it more deeply and then to send it to me, because I would like you to try to create some financial plan. And then you can also focus on your SWOT analysis if you have any. Do not worry about it too much, but at the very beginning of our today's lecture, I would like to start with this short task and ask each of you to tell me something about it. And I would like to start with Olena Krasulenko, if possible. Olena, are you here with us, and can you introduce your ideas shortly?
Oh, unfortunately, I'm not ready for today with my elevator pitch, and
it doesn't matter.
Yes, I can't introduce and do the main focus, because I only analyze my.
Okay, just main activities. Do not worry about it too much. Then it will be fine to write it down, for instance, and send it to me. But in the next weeks, I will insert this task to Moodle. So now, if you can outline some basic goals, if you have or idea about your financials, please, you can tell us.
I don't know what I could tell now more than I tell last time. I think that in elevator pitch, I need to focus on the main different idea. And it is the main problem for me now, because I'm only analyze this market in Prague, and I only saw that the competition are not similar to Ukraine, and I still don't find the different points of my business idea. And maybe I change my idea. I will change my idea next week. So
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't know.
you have enough time, so do not worry about it too much. Maybe you will be inspired by some tips regarding business from our today's videos, for instance, etc. So thank you, Olena, for your plans, your thoughts. Thank you.
And you.
And now we can switch to Natalia's technique. Can I ask you, Natalia, to introduce your goals shortly, or if you have any idea about your financial budget, you can tell us. Do we have Natalia here? Well, maybe later. So we can switch to Tatiana if possible. Tatiana, are you here? Thank you. Yeah, perfectly done. Now we can hear you.
Yes, I'm in tram now, and if it's possible, I can presentation for 5 minutes. I'm sorry for that.
Doesn't matter. Do not worry about it too much. So we can
Yes,
share.
I prepared my presentation, but unfortunately now I'm on the way to my home. Sorry.
Yeah. So do not worry about it too much. We can share it later, not to be disturbing for you.
Thank you.
For us. Yeah, you are welcome. Okay, we can switch to Anastasia Dronova if possible. Is it possible to unmute? Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello. It's good sound because I don't hear myself. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Perfect.
Okay, okay. I have online shop. It's we are selling tools and craft supplies for people who do their own hats, felted hats, and shoes. It's very narrow niche. It's very specific. It's for specific people who do their own hats, shoes, and wool yarn.
Yeah.
So some of tools we do by ourselves with masters from Ukraine, and some tools we supply from China. And mostly we sell to USA, Canada, and West Europe. So this is the market.
Yeah, perfectly done.
Yeah, the goal is the main goal actually is to expand the range of products because we have very few products now, but I need money to extend it. So we can satisfy customers and attract more customers and bring more profit. And yeah, I can say the strength of this business is that it's very really narrow and unique, so it's not so much competitors actually. Yeah, and it's also what is good that it's the tools is very high value, but it's very low cost, so you can bring a really good profit. But at the same time, it's the bad thing that it's kind of expensive, so some crafters can substitute it with something more simple. So this is the bad side of this. And what else? Opportunity thread. The main thread is about to find the appropriate masters who can do it, because not you need to teach them. I mean, if you lose your current masters, then you need to find somebody else or to teach them. So it's hard to find good masters for this too.
Perfectly done. You are very well prepared for.
Yeah, and financial by now it was my relatives and bank only, but I need more.
Yeah, thank you, Anastasia. Definitely there is a gap in the market, and thank you for your complex SWOT analysis. It was perfectly prepared, I would say. Well done. Thank you for it, for its introduction. And that's it. Anything else you would like to add?
No, I think I no, I said everything.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And now we can switch, for instance, to Lisa, if possible. Lisa, can I ask you for your short elevator pitch.
Sorry, I think you could not hear me, yeah?
Now
Hello.
we can hear you. We can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Unfortunately, I'm not still sure with my idea. I'm hesitating between two ideas. One of them is a coffee house in a new building
Yeah.
in a residential complex. And the main idea is that this coffee house has to be focused just on the residentials of this complex. And the main problem is I'm not sure that the clients will be enough to pay it off. I mean that it will get a profit just from that clients. I have 3 children, and I think it's not very interesting to go with to walk with baby carriages or to spend time playing with the children. And for example, me, when I spend time with my children out of house, almost every time I buy a cup of coffee, at least one cup of coffee. And in my opinion, almost every mother does it. And so if it will be a new building where there are a lot of families with small babies, mothers can buy them a cup of coffee and, for example, a hot chocolate for their baby or something like this. But still, I have to make a calculation to be sure that that clients will be enough to pay it off. And the second idea is something like the kitchen in Praga, food production and delivery. I'm also analyzing the market and trying to do some calculations, but unfortunately, I'm not still sure, and I haven't decided yet what to present to you. So I hope that the next week or in 2 weeks I'll be ready to have a concrete idea.
Yeah. Of course, you have plenty of time to think about it, but both ideas are relatively very interesting, I would say. Regarding coffee or cafe, it would be fine to come up with some questionnaire for your potential customers, and you can also think about financial planning in some optimistic, pessimistic, realistic some tool, but yeah, we can discuss it more deeply later if you want. So you can think about your ideas, and we can think about financial plan more deeply.
Okay.
Thank you for your introduction. Well done. And maybe now we can shortly ask also Olha Sereda, is it possible to introduce your SWOT analysis or financial ideas? Is it possible? Okay, or maybe is there anyone else who would like to outline SWOT analysis, financial budget, not to waste too much time at the very beginning of our lecture for it, because we will work with it more deeply. But I think that it's fine to think about your plans, about your budget continuously, think about your future ideas, and then it's easier for you to complete it too many sheets. So is there anyone else who would like to outline this task from last lecture? In case of not, we can start with our today's lecture, and we can focus on it more deeply next week, because I would like each of you think about financial budget, financial planning, potential own sources for your business regarding your starting capital, and also potential loans. And of course, it's necessary to think about property needs, about your property too. Okay, so now let's get started with our today's topic, because Victoria raised hand. So Victoria, of course, you can mention what you want.
I can say about my elevator speech.
Yeah, perfectly done. Thank you for it.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, of course you can. Perfect.
Problem. There are few books in Ukrainian in the Czech Republic. Ukrainian who have been in the Czech Republic for a long time forget the Ukrainian language. Ukrainian who came to the Czech Republic last year will forget Ukrainian in 5 years. I'm sure it's the same all over Europe. What we can do? Popularization of the culture of reading books among Ukrainians in Europe. Ukrainians will read more books in Ukraine. How do I do it? Online store in Europe with Ukrainian books and social media promotion and beautiful packaging these books and showroom in Prague for sell books and for workshops. And SWOT analysis as French experience in internet marketing is 15 years. Beautiful backending. I have no experience in a local business in Europe. Sale of related products, gift, for example, notebooks, repeat sales due to loyal audience. And last T, cheap delivery service from Ukraine. I have some target audience, but I don't prepare financial budget for that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because it's a relatively complex task and it's necessary to think about it relatively deeply. But you are very well prepared. Thank you for your ideas. I'm convinced that your idea regarding selling books will be attractive for many people nowadays.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. And Natalia, still me, you raised your hand. It's your turn.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just I wanted to say that my colleague and I, Katerina Shevelko, we prepared some aspects about the home task, but we didn't calculate the financial budget.
Yeah, it doesn't
We
matter.
prepared target customers, goals of our business, and just a second, and our needs.
Definitely.
What
Okay.
for we need money, so maybe we worked a little bit in another way, but just I wanted to mention that we prepared and we brainstormed, we did it. So maybe for the next time we will calculate financial budget and some problems as our colleagues mentioned. Just I wanted to mention about this.
Thank you for this message, for this information, Natalia, because of course you have time for it and it's fine to think about financial budget more deeply. We will discuss it together and then there will be about 2 weeks to send it to me. It's better to send it to me before and then we can discuss it more deeply to, for instance, outline some financial plans, some variants, optimistic, pessimistic, realistic, starting capital, etc. It's better to have it in written
Understood.
form. So just
Thank you, understood.
yeah, thank you very much. Perfectly done. So thank you for this introductory part of our today's lecture. And now it's time to switch to our today's topic. And we discussed in previously, we have discussed some possible legal forms of business in the Czech Republic. And today we will outline them more deeply and what to do to set up these legal forms of business. First of all, we have trade business activities. To remind it of you, it is called živnost in the Czech language, and the most of you will start with trade business activities. I'm convinced. Živnost or osoba samostatně výdělečně činná, it's relatively difficult expression. The abbreviation is OSVČ. Živnost, osoba samostatně výdělečně činná is the same like trade business activities, the same like craft activities, the same like fyzická osoba. So craft business, licensed trade. It is based on Trade Licensing Act. And the business corporations, it's the other option how to set up a business in the Czech Republic. It's legal entity, in fact, právnická osoba or corporation, korporace. And yeah, you can see one scheme in the Czech language. Do not worry about it too much, but to know also Czech terminology, not to be lost in it. On the left side, we have craft businesses, živnosti, on the left side, and on the right side, we have corporations. But do not worry about it too much. This presentation is available for you in Moodle now, so it is possible to download it, of course. Now, we can remind the definition of trade activities, and it's the same like entrepreneurship, in fact, because it's continuous activity that is carried out independently in the entrepreneur's own name, own responsibility, and the main purpose is to make profit. And it is based on Trade License Act, and Trade Licensing Office is the main institution for such activities. Also, we can talk about self-employed persons. That is živnost in the Czech language. And yeah, it's individual activity, one person activity, and the basic conditions are regulated by the Trade Licensing Act, as I mentioned. What is necessary to know? How to get a trade license? That is the main document that you need for these activities. You must fulfill so-called general conditions. It is not hard to fulfill them. We will outline them in a while. Then we must choose our trade, our type of our trade, our activity, and we must know if there are some rules to manage, to deal with or not. And then we will announce, we will notify our trade at the Trade Licensing Office. The first step, fulfillment of so-called general conditions. In the Czech language, všeobecné podmínky podnikání, but it is not so important for you. General conditions. The age of 18. Then legal capacity and also integrity. So general conditions are not so hard to be fulfilled. In case we do not fulfill any of general conditions, it doesn't mean that we are not able to do a business in the Czech Republic, but we can have some responsible person that fulfills these conditions and that is responsible for our business, in fact. So it is also possible to deal with such a problem. Then we must choose appropriate trade activity, because we have some many types of activities, and they are a little different. First of all, we have so-called notifiable trade. In the Czech language, it means ohlašovací živnosti. It is necessary to notify, just notify to trade licensing office. And these notifiable trades divide into 3 possible forms, and we will discuss them later, or we will outline more information about them later. But these possible trades are so-called unqualified trades, volné živnosti, in fact, vocational trade, řemeslné živnosti, that are more controlled than unqualified trades that are more free, and professional trades, in fact, vázané živnosti. We will outline them later. And also, besides notifiable trade, we have also permitted trade. And we need some permission from state to do such activities that are connected with permitted trade. In the Czech language, it means koncesovaná živnost, and we need some concession, some documents from the state, because these activities are controlled relatively strongly by state institutions. And what is also important is to announce our trade at the trade licensing office, and we can announce our trade, our business, at any trade office, and the notification is possible to prepare with the help of website. It is blue paper. I will show it to you, and it is called jednotný registrační formulář. Maybe relatively difficult for you, but yeah, it's the document. Jednotný registrační formulář. I will insert link where to find this formulář for just individuals, and it's fine to write down your name and also your activity, etc. Yeah, that's it. So it's the document regarding registration. And so you will announce your trade at the trade licensing office with the help of this document. And if all the conditions are met, you will give the document for you, the trade license, in fact, within 5 days. So it's perfect, because then you can start your business. But not to forget more important aspects. You will pay about 1,000 crowns for this document. And what is important to know, that for some crafts, for some trades, some businesses, you must have some education or experience. I will outline it in a while. So where to get a trade license? To summarize it, at any trade office in Czech Republic, or also you can go to so-called center registration points that could be very helpful to you, because they are also connected with the Czech Social Security Administration, Labor Office, health insurance, etc. And you can find much information on the website of Czech Invest, so you will be given these links and you will find them in Moodle because they are really inspiring. Okay, so single registration form, jednotný registrační formulář, as I mentioned, but not to be overloaded by much information. So I will skip this slide. And what is fine to know, if you are doing craft business or if you are doing great business activities, it's fine for you that it is not necessary to keep the classic accounting, the classic bookkeeping. It could be relatively complicated, and you can work with so-called fiscal recording, just fiscal recording or tax records. These records are important just to know your tax and just to know something about your revenues and expenses, but it is not so complicated for you. And current tax rate regarding income tax is relatively low. It's 15% for individual person. And what is also one advantage of craft business, that there is possibility to deal with so-called paušální daň. So it's annual tax base about 60% or 80% for artisans, because it is not connected with real expenses. It is based on tax law. So it is also possibility and one advantage. Well, maybe now you are relatively overloaded by information. So it's time to refresh a little. And I have one video for you how to get a trade license. And I would like to share this video because it's very useful for 5 minutes video. And then we will continue with more information about types of trade license, okay? No, notifiable and permitted. So now let me stop share this presentation and I will share the video. And you will be given also the link regarding this video. Video is called What is a Trade License and how to get it easily, and hopefully you will be inspired with it. So let me just share it. Hopefully, do you hear me now?
Personally, me, I hear you, but I don't see your screen.
Yeah, because probably I have some problem with Zoom because now it is not visible for me, just one icon, but nothing else. So hopefully I will try it again. Okay, I'm sorry for it. To share the video with me because I would like to. So thank you for this information. Well, so I will be here in a while and hopefully everything will work. Thank Well, can you hear me? Hopefully
Yes.
everything is okay. Thank you for it, and hopefully you will see me in a while. I'm sorry for this interruption, but probably
I'm sorry, maybe you will send the link in chat and me or someone will share my screen. I will
yeah,
try.
of
Maybe in
course.
this way. Let's
I
try
can-
in this way.
Yeah, I can try it, but
In
first
chat.
of all,
Could you please send the link in chat and
yeah,
I will try.
I will send it. Okay,
Okay.
because I think that this link will be relatively useful for you. But now everything should be okay. So I will try to share it, but of course I will send a link to you. Now it should be visible for you, okay? It's shared to YouTube and I have sent it. Yeah, is it okay?
Yes, I have it and I'm trying to.
Well, and now I will share the video and hopefully it will work. But what is fine is also to share the sound. Okay, and now
what is a trade license?
okay, and now hopefully yeah, so you should see the video. Yeah, is it okay?
Yes.
Perfectly done. Thank you for your patience. And so we will watch this video now.
Business license, Živno, freelancing license is basically a license allowing you to run business in the Czech Republic as a freelancer. It's easy to set it up, it's fast, and the taxation is very low compared to, for example, establishing a company, SRO company, limited liability company. So it's easy to get it, and it's the best way to start your own business if you're just starting right now. 6 documents you need to get the trade license. Number 1 is your passport or national ID if you're an EU citizen. If you are a non-EU citizen living in the Czech Republic, you might also need to show your ID or like visa or residence card. Number 2, that's a proof of business address, which can usually be your lease agreement, or you can get a special consent from your own landlord or from some other landlord. Number 3, criminal check. That needs to be from the country of your origin. It's not needed in case of EU citizens, permanent residence holders, and students with a proper student visa. Number 4, list of chosen trades, because you can work in up to 80 different fields, but you need to choose which ones you want to include into the trade license. Number 5 is an administrative fee of 1,000 crowns for the trade license authority. And number 6 is not mandatory, but it helps a lot. And that's a power of attorney, for example, for us, that we will be running to all the offices on your behalf, so you don't have to go anywhere on your own. 5 steps to get the trade license. First, collect all the required documents. I've covered the required documents in one of the previous videos, so you can refer to that. Then you submit the documents to the trade license office. Number 3, if you submitted everything properly, then you just wait, because the trade license process, like establishing it, officially takes 3 to 5 business days at the trade license office. Once it's done, you need to go collect the trade license from the trade license office where you applied for it. And number 5, 5th step to get the trade license is to get yourself registered for paying taxes, paying social security, and in some cases also paying healthcare. And how taxes work for freelancers in the Czech Republic. Basically, there are 3 things you need to pay as a freelancer in the Czech Republic. Thing number 1 is an income tax. Everyone needs to pay that, so everyone needs to get registered for that. Second thing everyone needs to pay is the social security. That's officially meant to cover your pension or your unemployment. In real life, you will never see that money, but you have to pay that. Everyone has to do that. And number 3, third thing you need to pay is healthcare, which is only required for some nationalities and some situations. For example, EU citizens, permanent residence holders, and some nationalities apart from that. how the taxes work is that income tax is calculated once a year before the end of March for the previous year. So for example, in March 2021, you do taxes, your tax return for 2020. Social Security is paid on monthly basis. You pay so-called advance payments, which have like a minimum amount you need to pay even if you don't make any money. As of now, it's around 2,700 crowns a month. And then it's recalculated along with your income tax at the end of the year, or like in March when the tax season ends. And based on your income, you either have to pay something extra or you don't. And similar system, if you're part of the public healthcare system and you need to pay the public health insurance as well, that's also paid on monthly basis, some minimum monthly advance payments, and then recalculated once a year along with your income tax. And based on how much you earned, you either need to pay something extra or not. If you need any help with that, get in touch. We'll be happy to help you with that, take care of everything on your behalf, and you can get.
Well, so it's the end of our video, and hopefully it is helpful to you. You have also the link, and it's fine to record to watch it again if you need. And I, in the second half of our today's lecture, there will be one other video that is also relatively fine to watch, but it's a little longer, so I will show it to you at the end of our today's lecture in case of time, because it's about just starting a craft business in comparison with limited liability company in the Czech Republic. So one video, how to get a trade license. Now I will share my presentation again, and it will work properly. Well, and we have outlined trade business activities from the global point of view, and now it's time to focus on each activity in more detailed way, because we have, as I mentioned, notifiable trade. All we need is to register our trade at the trade office. So what we need is to inform the trade licensing office about our future business with the help of single registration form, jednotný registrační formulář. And then you can start your business immediately. But some trades are relatively free, and some trades are a little more complicated because you need to get with some confirmation about your education or praxis. First of all, we will focus on so-called unqualified trades. In the Czech language, volné živnosti. Volné, it means that these trades are free, are relatively free, open in fact. Because what is necessary to meet are just general conditions: the age of 18, legal capacity, the integrity, and it is not necessary to prove your potential professional or other competencies with the help of some diploma, for instance, or praxis. And these activities, unqualified trades and connected activities, are connected with such examples like, for instance, shoe manufacturing, reparations, accommodation services, but also photographic services. And there is no need of any certificate or professional competence for them. And you can find complete activities in the list, in the attachment, in the annex number 4 to the Trade Licensing Act. I will insert the link regarding this rule, this Trade Licensing Act, with all the annexes, and later you can find your type of business there and potential competencies that you need to meet to fulfill or not. So unqualified trades, many activities that are relatively easy to manage to deal with because you need to meet just basic general conditions. Then we have also so-called vocational trades, řemeslné živnosti, řemeslné or vocational. It means that you create something, that you are formed something special. You have to have some professional competence because, for instance, it could be butchery or meat processing, bakery, or for instance, hairdressing. And we can find full list of vocational trades in Annex number 1 regarding Trade Licensing Act. And of course, you can find your potential activity there. Later we will work with it. And last but not least, there are also professional trades. Professional trades in the Czech language, vázané živnosti. Professional trades are connected with specific competencies that you need to have to do such a business. For instance, running a driving school or tax counseling, other activities that are relatively more complicated and you need to have some education, some diploma or other professional competencies or praxis. And full list of these activities is possible to find in Annex number 2, attachment number 2 regarding Trade Licensing Act. Okay, so we outlined firstly so-called notifiable trades. Just to remind it of you, ohlašovací živnosti consist of unqualified trade, vocational trade, and professional trade. And in case you will have all the documents, it is possible to just notify it to the trade licensing office and you can do your business within about 5 days. What is relatively more complicated is to start your business in case of permitted trade. Permitted trade, these activities are more controlled by some state institutions because these trades are relatively more complicated and must be controlled. Koncesované živnosti, permitted trades, are connected with document named or called concession. Concession is a document that allows you to do such a business. And these trades often require a permit of some competent authority, of some state institution, your professional competence, or length of experience. Both requirements are important and they are required for each activity. And what could be permitted trade? For instance, road motor transport, running a travel agency, security services, and some other activities that you can find in Annex number 3 regarding Trade Licensing Act. We will work with this document as I mentioned, as I promised, we will work with it later. So hopefully you are not overloaded by trading activities because we have notifiable trade and permitted trades. We are able to start a business with just notifiable trades within 5 days. Regarding permitted trade, it's a little longer because it lasts a few days to be given a permission from state institution. It is about 30 days. And not to forget, there are some exceptions. I outlined many activities that are controlled by Trade Licensing Office and that are based on Trade Licensing Act. But there are some exceptions because these professions are not based on Trade Licensing Act. For instance, physicians, veterinarians, or lawyers, for instance, interpreters or auditors, tax advisors. And my question is why? Why do you think so? Because there are the exceptions, and in case you would like to be, for instance, auditor or tax advisor in the Czech Republic, you do not need the Trade Licensing Act because your activity, your profession is not based on it. You are the auditor, and why not to be inspired by Trade Licensing Act? Is there anyone who knows? Okay, yeah, Tanya, of course, you can answer.
I want to ask, can you tell about the difference between OSVČ and SRO? What's the main difference between, and in which case we should start SRO, and in which case we can make only OSVČ and that's enough?
In which case we are OSVČ, it means individual, and
Yes.
in which case we will do our business based on legal entity, or yeah, of course we
Yes.
will discuss it more deeply because we will switch to legal entities. First of all, I would like to outline that the most of you will start your business as an individual person. So craft business or trade license, because it's easier. You are just one person and you will start. So the easiest way is to start with craft business. And do not worry about it because we will outline the reasons also with the help of one video, so it will be explained to you more deeply. We will work with it, but it's easier way. You are just one person, you do not need some companions, for instance, and you have enough.
But if I need some assistance, for example.
If you need some assistance, it's possible to set up legal entity and to have some companion, to have some partner, and it is possible to work with the business like legal entity, právnická osoba in the Czech language, not individual, but právnická osoba. And also, in case you need, for instance, more money, because for legal entity, it's easier to be given money from bank, because yeah, it's easier way than for individuals, I would say. And for instance, it's also fine to set up legal entity when you need more experience, in case you don't have all the competencies for doing your activity, for doing your business. For instance, you would like to be baker and you do not have enough education for it, or praxis. You can have also your companion with such experience, and you can set up legal entity, for instance. And in a while we will explain it more deeply because I will switch to legal entities, but now we outlined just craft business. Thank you, Tanya, for your question. Is it clear a little now?
And I have another question. If I make a legal personal právnická osoba. I can get credit in bank and I can have employees, right?
Yeah, it is not so easy with credit in a bank. I would say it depends on your business plan, on your plans, on your scenarios, etc. But it is easier way how to be given more money from bank, I would say. And you can have employees, of course, it's possible you can have companions, etc. You can have some partners in your business that will share your business with you and are responsible for the obligations for the business.
How I can know what difference between taxes for OSVČ and SRO?
Yeah, individuals or OSVČ, as you mentioned, has tax 15%. 15%, it's lower tax for individuals in the Czech Republic. Regarding legal entities, there is 19%, so tax is higher. So yeah, it's a little more expensive, or it's a small disadvantage, but there are some advantages and disadvantages of these forms, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. We will outline it more deeply, so do not worry about it too much, but thank you very much for your question.
Thank you.
Perfectly done. And now this item, this aspect, this idea, as I mentioned, the Trade Licensing Act is not connected with some professions that are relatively complicated to do, for instance, auditors, tax advisors. These professions are controlled by some special chambers, professional chambers, that are own rules for doing such a business, because you need to have a special education for it, to have meet some requirements, some praxis. So for instance, if you want to be auditor, you must have about 12 exams that are controlled by auditory chamber, etc., etc. It's more complicated, so it is not based on trade licensing, but it's enough. Well done. So now we must think about some pros and cons regarding business activities, but now in comparison with potential job opportunity with some employer, for instance. Because starting a craft business is relatively challenging for us, as we mentioned in our very first lecture. And of course, you can focus more on your interests. You can do what you love, what you enjoy, and it's very passionate, enthusiastic activity for you. You are much more flexible because you are not so time limited, but it depends very much, because from time to time for entrepreneurs, it's much more time consuming to do such a business in comparison with, for instance, employers, but it depends. And yeah, of course, it's about our profit. But what is relatively disadvantage, or can be disadvantage, some potential threats, for instance, competition. It is time consuming, as I mentioned. We must follow some trends, and we must be very flexible. We must have positive approach to risk, responsible. We must be responsible for our activities, etc. So many things to consider. Just for your information, I have the number of trade licenses in the Czech Republic. There are the number of permitted professional, vocational, and unqualified trades. And as you can see, the most of trades are unqualified trades that are free to do without some special competencies. Yeah, then later your task will be to find your business activity in the Trade Licensing Act. But we will deal with this activity later in the second part of our lecture. So I will insert this link also into chat window. But now let me outline short information about corporations, not to be overloaded with it. We will continue with corporations next week, but now we will start with it. What is a corporation? It is a legal entity that is recognized as a separate entity that protects its owners from personal liability for the business debtors. So it's relatively safer from time to time to be a part of corporation than to do a business like an individual. Which types of corporations is possible to set up in the Czech Republic? Maybe you remember it from our last week's lecture. We have so-called the General Commercial Partnership or Unlimited Partnership that is called Veřejná obchodní společnost, or abbreviation is VOS in the Czech Republic. It is not very typical form of business, but yeah, you can find some examples. Limited Partnership, komanditní společnost, abbreviation is as in the Czech language. Then limited liability company, or the synonym is private limited company, LLC in fact, společnost s ručením omezeným, SRO in the Czech language. And joint stock company or public limited company, akciová společnost or AS in the Czech language. The most common company is limited liability company in the Czech Republic. So next time we will focus more deeply on this type of company. But now let me outline a few information about each form just shortly. First of all, we have here General Commercial Partnership or VOS, Veřejná obchodní společnost. In comparison to individual or craft business, in General Commercial Partnership, there are the minimum of two persons that are trading under a common name and are obligated and liable for the company. They are responsible for their obligations together. And they are liable with all the property they hold. And the example of such a company is, for instance, Kaufland. I'm convinced that you need this supermarket. It is not very frequently used form of a business in the Czech Republic, but yeah, you can find some examples. There are the minimum of two persons that are doing business with the help of common name, and they are liable for their obligations together. There is no need for so-called register capital. No register capital is there. Register capital is not obligatory. The amount of capital that must be inserted to the company at the very beginning of your business, it is not connected with this this company with this general commercial partnership. Registered capital is required, for instance, in joint stock company or in limited liability company, but not here. So general commercial partnership, the first type of legal entity, and we will discuss to setting up a general commercial partnership more deeply in our next lecture. Then we have here limited partnership. Limited partnership is called komanditní společnost, and there are the minimum of 2 persons again that are liable for the company's obligations. But there are 2 types of companions, and one is called komanditista and one is called complementar. The one of them is a manager of the company, in fact, and the second one must insert some registered capital to the company. We will discuss it more later deeply, but it's a relatively complicated form of legal entity. It is not very frequently used in the Czech Republic, but we can find some examples there. For instance, Zentiva pharmacy, in fact. Maybe you know this company. Then the most frequently used form is limited liability company or společnost s ručením omezeným in the Czech language. Limited liability company is relatively fine to start to set up. In case of new business, it's relatively fast and simple. It was very simplified with the new Commercial Act, because in 2014 it was simplified. Because before this date, there was registered capital in amount of 200,000 Czech crowns, relatively difficult to set up, but now it's just 1 crown that is required, so it's a relatively symbolic amount of money to be here in this company regarding its start. And registration, it's relatively more expensive than to set up individual company or craft business, because we need notarial deed, and our expenses are about 12,000 or 15,000 crowns, but it's relatively easy to set up this company. It is not long time process. It's about a few weeks, I would say. And as we mentioned before, we are legal entity, so our tax is 19%. And as limited liability company, we are liable for our obligations, but just with our founding capital, not with the shareholders' own property. So as a shareholder, as a companion, we are not liable for our obligations. So it is connected with the name of the company, limited liability. So there is just limited risk for the persons that are setting up such a business. We will discuss it more deeply in the next lecture. So limited liability company, as I mentioned, registered capital is now just 1 Czech crown. Of course, you can insert more money at the very beginning of the business, and the minimal amount of persons is just 1. The minimal number of persons is just 1 person to set up a limited liability company in comparison to, for instance, general partnership. Okay, and last but not least, we have here, for instance, joint stock company. Joint stock company is the most complicated form of business. It is usually used just for large businesses, and you need to insert a rather large amount of capital, 2 million crowns or 80,000 euros, in case you would like to have your accountancy in euros. It is also possible. Of course, it is based on so-called notarial deed, and it's much more complicated form of starting business, and also much more expensive than other forms. And as an example, you can outline RegioJet or Skoda Holding. Okay, not to be overloaded by information, because we will outline it later more deeply. Just let me summarize advantages and disadvantages of corporations in comparison with individuals. Advantage of a corporation include some personal liability protection. You are not so liable for your obligations like the individual. There is so-called business security, and also easier access to capital, because it's easier for you to obtain potential bank loan, additional money for investors. But there are also some disadvantages, because it's relatively time consuming to set up such a business. There is so-called double taxation. Why double? Because as a legal entity, there is 19% income tax for us, as we mentioned. And in case of some shareholders' money, our shareholders' fund will be taxed by 15% again. So we will pay twice, in fact, because as a legal entity, we have a profit with the tax of 19%. And in case of some, for instance, dividends of our shares from the profit at the end of the year, there are additional tax, 15%. So it means that there is, in fact, the double taxation. But yeah, we must think about advantages and disadvantages, and it is not so complicated to set up, for instance, limited liability companies. I'm convinced that it's also potential form starting a business for you. And now, maybe not to be overloaded more by details, do you have any question regarding legal entities or craft businesses? Because we will discuss it next time, step by step, to set up each form. We will outline advantages and disadvantages more deeply. But now, do you have any question regarding these activities? Olha, of course, you can ask.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to ask you about the profit of this business. If I do my trade activity on Instagram or maybe in Facebook, and my profit is not stability, what to do? I must do this żywnościak or not?
If your profit is not stable, you think about your trade license, if it is necessary. It's your question.
Yes.
So in the Czech law, there is the term that is called příležitostná činnost. It means the activity that is done just from time to time And in case you obtain less than 3,000 crowns a year, it is not obligatory to have a craft for it, to have a business, to have a trade license, because you do not have enough profit for it, and it is not obligatory. But you have probably the intention to do it continuously, to repeat your activity, and it means that it is in fact entrepreneurship for you, because from the definition of entrepreneur, it's the activity that should be done again and again. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. So maybe you can ask for trade license, but in case of no profit, it is not, of course, obligatory for you. There will be no taxes, and also you can, for instance, to simplify it, because there is so-called paušální daň, just a tax with the help of percentage of revenues. It is also possible to use it, and there is no need to have some special accounting for it, some complicated bookkeeping, just to think about your expenses with the help of 1%, 60% for you. We will discuss it more deeply next time. But yeah, in case you will do it repeatedly, it is entrepreneurship, and yeah, it's a craft business in fact. But I understand that it depends on the situation, the profit.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are welcome. Any other question regarding our today's lecture? Tanya?
If we have a little time, I would like to discuss my presentation.
Of course.
So my business idea is tailoring and alteration clothes studio. Location Prague. Customers is people who have abnormal shapes, people who like conservative style, who supports don't support fast fashion. Also creative people, people who want to look unique, people who don't want to spend a lot of money on new clothes. I made SWOT analysis and I'm sorry, I forgot about financial sources, and
Doesn't matter.
Yes, about financial sources is my own money, which I save for this productive. So about SWOT analysis, strength is personal service, working with clients with unique shapes. Another strength is high quality fabric that are used by luxury brands, customization of the clothes pieces, unique clothes made specially for the customers, and a lot of experience me and my assistants. Weakness. A lot of it takes a lot of times because I work with personality. Forgot this word. Personality pattern. And these clothes can be more expensive than ready-to-wear clothes in the shop. Some technologies are not available for handmade because only a big fabric can позволить это, can you know,
Allow.
Thank you. And small field, small auditorium, if you know what I mean. Audience, opportunity, online orders by creative a system which I can available a system where takes photo with shapes of client and I can work with photo without person. So one of opportunity is selling accessories and a collaboration with shoes making companies. Threats, not enough workers with needed skills, with needed experience and a lot of experience. And of course, competition with other designers and brands.
Perfectly prepared, Tanya. Thank you for your outlining of your business plan because it is very well balanced, well prepared. You can put some strategy that is based on create some strategy that is based on your SWOT analysis strategy for the future, and also you can think about your financial plan for future months and years. But it is very well prepared, and yeah, definitely there is gap in the market in this field, and yeah, you can work with it more deeply. Thank you for it. Now we must be finishing, but I would like to outline the task for the next week. Yes.
Sorry, I late for homework and I also want to share my business idea if you have a time.
Okay, so shortly we can share it, and we can share it deeply at the very beginning of the next lecture, because let me just say a few words about your future task, because just for future lecture you should specify your legal form of business. Probably we will start with a craft business as we outlined today. I will insert the link regarding Trade Licensing Act and its annexes into Moodle. So you will find it into Moodle and try to find your activity, if it is more notifiable trade or permitted trade, or for instance vocational trade, etc. And you can think about the steps that you have to take to start your own business. It's the only task for you. And for those of you who haven't outlined, introduced the SWOT analysis yet, it is also possible to share your SWOT analysis with us. After next lecture, there will be task for you to write your plans down just shortly and send it to me, but it's in the next week, so we have plenty of time for it. So any question regarding our future organization or this task, so do not worry about it too much, but it's fine to think about your business more deeply and continuously. Well, so Marina, would you like to present now shortly or at the beginning of our next lecture? What is better for you? Marina, we cannot hear you probably. Probably you mute. Now it's okay. Now it's okay.
I think better now.
Perfect. So you can shortly outline your business before the finishing of our
I would like to speak about business idea of opening a cafe with a small bakery and a small children's playground. It will a location in Poland. The cafe will feature a wide range of beverage, including the development of a signature recipe, introducing seasonal specialties, and catering to specific dietary preference or restrictions. For example, coffee without caffeine or lactose free. Our target client comprises a diverse group. Firstly, we welcome students who are looking for a cozy and productive setting to study or simply unwind with friends. Secondly, office workers can find solace in our cafe as they take a well-diverse break from their demanding schedules. And lastly, families with children will discover a space that caters to their needs with a designated play area where the little ones can have fun while parents enjoy our exceptional offerings.
How interesting. Okay.
And in terms of financial sources, we have secured microcredits from a reputable bank. This allows us to obtain the necessary funding to kickstart our business operations and bring our vision to life. With careful financial planning, we aim to ensure sustainability and profitability in the long run. And about SWOT analysis, our strengths, we focus on exceptional tasty, exceptional coffee, and fresh baked pastries sets as apart from competitors. Additionally, our designated play area adds value and attracts families. Weakness, as a new business, we may face initial challenges in establishing brand recognition and attracting a consistent consumer base. Now we need to develop effective marketing strategies to overcome this hurdle. Opportunity, there is a growing demand for family-friendly establishments, and we aim to tap into this market by creating memorable experience for our customers. We can foster consumer loyalty and positive word of mouth. Our treats competition in the coffee industry is fierce, and we must differentiate ourselves through our unicum signature drinks and exceptional customer service.
Perfectly done. Okay, thank you, Marina. We must be finishing, but your plan is very well prepared, and I'm convinced that there is a gap in the market because you will offer specific products that are not so frequently here in the market, and yeah, you will find your customers, I'm convinced. So it is very well prepared, and you can think about your future strategy in connection with SWOT analysis. Thank you for your introduction of your business plan, and thank all of you for your attendance and attention today. And this task for you for thinking, I will insert a link to the Moodle, and we will see on Thursday. Thank you and have a nice evening. So goodbye.
Thank you very much. Likewise, you too. Have a nice evening too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Thank you. It was very interesting. Have a nice
Yeah. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.